Okay, so these were those equations for rational exponents. So equations that have a fraction as the exponent. And we remember that to solve those, in order to cancel out that exponent, you have to raise both sides to an exponent. And when you multiply the original fraction by that exponent, it will cancel out. Right? So for the first one, it was a quarter, so you want to multiply that by 4 over 1. Right? 1 over 4, you swap that, 4 over 1. So the next one guys is first 4, because 4 over 1 is 4. Right? That's fine with all of you. And then here, the 1s will cancel out, the 4s will cancel out, you're left with x for 1. Which is equal to 3 to the power 4, which is just 81. Should I zoom in because the fractions are a bit small? Here we go. Any questions on that first one, guys? This one? Okay, so next one. The exponent was negative 3 over 2. So if we swap that exponent, we get 2 over 3, but because it's negative, we must multiply by a negative as well. Right? A negative times a negative is a positive. The 3s are going to cancel out, the 2s are going to cancel out, I'm left with a 1. And then we must raise the other side to that exponent as well. So now let's find that out. So now, if you need to look at this denominator, it is 3. So we have x some point of 3, right? And it's the denominator. So we write it as 2 to the power 3. So now that 3 is going to have to be at the bottom, and we make it to that negative 2. Which is 1 over 2 to the positive 2, which is 1 over 4. Okay, so 1 thing, 1 that is 1 3. Second one is negative of half, so I'm going to raise both sides to negative. You just swap it around, 2 over 1. So negative times negative positive, and then the 1 cancel out, the 2's cancel out, and negative x to the positive 1. But then you put it on the side, and then this one is just a negative 2 exponent, and I'll leave this. If your whole fraction has a negative exponent, you can just swap the fraction around. Okay, so instead of 7 over 2, make it 2 over, and then that exponent becomes positive 2. And then I'm sure you all know that 2 squared is 4, I'd say it's 49, so that's the final answer. Or what you could have done, you could have said that the 7 to the negative 2 over 2 to the negative 2. Right? You could have done that as well, right? Because the whole fraction raised to the first, take the numerator and denominator by exponent. But do we like having negative exponents? In order to make those exponents negative, we must move, or positive, sorry, we must move them, right? So for this 7 exponent to become positive, it has to go to the bottom. So this 6, the negative 2 is at the bottom, going to be 7 there. And this 2 to the negative 2 currently at the bottom must move to the top to make that exponent positive. Okay, and then we'll get the same answer, right? Not 2 is 4, and then okay, you can decide how you want to do that. The questions are far. A lot of people just aren't marking. You didn't know how much at the very least, something as well. Yeah. Then there's number 4. So that we're going to move that people over and see how minus 4 is. Then if you want to raise both sides to a power that will go out the negative a third, it has negative 3 over 1. We'll do the same on the other side. Here I just wrote 3 because 3 over 1 is 3. Alright. So now with this, when you times them, the negatives are going to cancel out, and those 3s, you're just going to be left with positive 1. And outside again, you need to be able to find the actual numbers. Alright, this isn't a fraction, it's just a whole number. So we can actually work that out, but now we have the negative exponent again. So you could do this. Right, maybe you have to do it prefer. You make a negative exponent positive, move into the base, right? So that will then become negative. What was at the bottom here? This was at the top, and I need to do the bottom. At the bottom there was a 1, right? So this is going to become 1 over 4 cubed. And then 4 cubed is 64. So negative 1 over 64. Okay, or you could do what I did. I swapped the 4 over 1 for 4. Made the exponent positive, but you get to the same answer. Okay. Equation number 4. Okay, in number 5, again, you have to move that minus 25 over first. It becomes positive 25. Now, guys, the thing that makes this question different from all the others is that we now have an even numerator. First time in this exercise, that happens. In all the previous questions, we had an odd numerator. Remember, if that numerator is even, you must put a minus. So just add it in there, please. If you forgot about that, and star it. Then circle that 2 there. I'm just going to add a note again. Even numerator. Then plus minus. It's very easy to forget that. Make sure that you are keeping that in mind. Okay, so negative 2 over 3, you take the 2 over 3, you swap it around to 3 over 2, and because this one is negative, the other one is as well. You do the same on the other side, and what made this one even more difficult is now we have to do that whole exponent thing again, right? So this denominator is 2, so you write it as sum to the power of 2, so that it will cancel out, like that. Right, the 2 and the 2 will cancel out, you're left with 5 to the negative 3. Guys, please note that you have to keep writing that plus minus all the way down. Okay, so the first time you write it is when you are writing both sides together, and then you need to write it all the way down to your answer. Okay, if those 2's are cancelling out, you're left with 5 and negative 3, which if you now move that 5 to the bottom, it's going to be 1 over 5 to the positive 3, and 5 to the power of 3 is 125. Okay, any questions? We still have to do number 6 as well. Right, there we go. We have number 6 again. The exponent was even. The numerator side of the exponent was even. You have to do minus. Again, if the box please add that in, write or highlight or whatever. Is it one of them will do it, but now. So again, you have to move the 16 across. To write both sides to the power of 3 over 2, because I think I'm going 2 over 3. Then on the right hand side here, you need to be able to find this without using a calculator. So the denominator is 2. So you must write it up to the power of 2, so that the 2's will cancel out. You're left with 4 cubed. No, that's what I say that. So you write this for this. Right, any other questions, guys? I would like you now to do another 7 to 12 of the same exercise. So we're going to do something new, but I can see it. Right, so 7 to 12. You did 1 to 6. I would like you to do 7 to 12. We're going to do now. And we are going to mark this before the end of the lesson, guys. I'm not going to slip and waste time now, please. So you can go underneath this. Yes, yeah. Wait, what please? Yes. So you guys half an hour, I will not put it on. How you guys go? If you need to know what any of those numbers are, you have to look at the Okay, so guys, in number 7, if it said 3 over 2, then your answer must be 16. Okay, thank you for pointing that out. If it said 2 over 3, remember that 2 is even, so you have to have a plus 9. Okay. Number 8 was a different type of question. You actually could have got a question like this even before I showed you this new method, right? We have an x cubed, you move the 1 over, you move the 125 over, and now guys, what's the opposite of cubing something? You're rooting it, right? So you could use that like grade 10 method, I suppose, where you are doing the opposite of cubing something. You cube root whatever is there and you get the answer. Or if you want to just use one method for all of them, that's fine. I wrote it on the side here. If you want to raise both sides to a power that will cancel out 3, it's going to have to be 1 over 3. All right, we swap. The 3 over 1 becomes 1 over 3. And then you just need to write, because now your denominator here is a 3. Your denominator is a 3. So you need to write the fraction as something with a power of 3. So I just said 1 over 3 and 5 over 3. Oh, sorry, 1 to the power of 3, my bad. And 5 to the power of 3. But guys, remember that both of these 3's will cancel out that 1 3 here on the outside. Okay, so you are then left with 1 to the 1 over 5 to the 1. That's 1 over 5. Okay. So it's fine. Whichever method you use, or let's move on. That's whichever one you think of first. Okay, number 9 and 10 are next to each other there. You can take a look. So for number 9, the original fraction there was 3 over 4, so you raise both sides to 4 over 3. Now guys, it's obviously, I'm just going to zoom in a bit so you can see there. It's more complicated when you're working with lots of fractions now, right? But what you have here is your denominator is 3. So you need to write 125 and 27 as something to the power of 3. Okay, so 125 is 5 cubed, 27 is 3 cubed. And then again, both of those 3's are going to cancel out that 3 on the outside. So you will be left with this whole fraction to the power of 4. Which you can put in an extra step if you want, guys. You can say that this is now 5 to the power of 4 over 3 to the power of 4. Right? That is what you have to do when you have a fraction raised to an exponent. You have to do the numerator and the denominator to that exponent. And then 5 to the power of 4 is 65, and 3 to the power of 4 is 81. In this case, we're not doing a plus minus because the numerator is an odd number. Questions on this one? Yes. So that's what I was saying the other day. I've been saying was after you use the calculator, you have to be able to do it like this. Okay, so we need to practice this in case. Okay, number 10 on the side there was also a little bit different. I suppose just in the sense that this looks like it's not actually fractions, but we use the same method. Okay, so this 1 must move. Becomes positive 1. Then you divide by 49. And now in order to cancel out this negative 2, we have to raise it to the power of negative 1 over 2. But because the numerator, right, if it's negative 2, that's 2 over 1. So the numerator is even. So we have to do a plus minus. Then working with these fractions is a bit tricky, guys. I just suggest that you write down every step and try to not do a lot of stuff in your head, because you might go wrong if you do that. So you have 1 over 49 to the power of negative a half. This denominator is 2. So you have to write both of these as something to the power of 2. 1 is easy, right? 1 is the same as 1 to the power of 2, 1 squared. 49 is 7 to the power of 2. Now again, both of those 2's cancel out that 2 over there. And we're left with 1 over 7 to the negative 1. Okay, now what do you do when your exponent is negative a whole fraction? You can just swap the fraction around. Okay, so 1 over 7 is going to become 7 over 1 to the positive 1. So you could have put in an extra step if you wanted to. like that. Okay, showing that you're taking this fraction, swapping it around, and that negative 1 becomes positive 1. Okay, or you could just write 7 straight away. Any questions, guys? Now, visualizing can have quite a lot of marks. You will get a mark for moving 1 and 49. You have a mark raising a 5 to that negative a half, and a mark for the plus minus. So this line will be worth 2 marks. Then if they didn't say anything about not using a calculator, you just type that in and you'll get a full final answer. So that would be the full mark. But if they say you're not allowed to use a calculator, you will get a mark for raising, for writing them as 1 squared and 7 squared. Alright, and then we'll go into the final answer. So that'll be a 5 mark question. This is the same as this, okay? Yeah, it has to be followed for your Okay, guys, so 4 marks, 5 marks. There's a lot of marks for this type of question. Okay. Number 11. Again, you need to just have x and add exponent. You can just move the minus 27 and when you divide by the 8. Now you must raise both sides 2 because the original one is 3 over 4. We're going to raise 2 for 3. Both sides. Here on this side, the denominator is 3, so we need to write 1 as something to the power of 3, which is quite easy in this case. 3 to the 3 over 2 to the 3. Both of these 3's will cancel out that 3 on the outside. So you're left with 3 or 2 to the power of 4. 3 power 4 is 81, and 2 to the power 4 is 6. So that's the final answer in this case. Any questions there? Okay, number 12. This is another one where we have to remember our plus minus because the numerator is even. So move that 81 over to that side. When you have 4, if you swap that, you get 3 over 4. So you raise both sides to 3 over 4 and you put your plus minus in that line already. The denominator here is 4. You need to write 16 as 2 to the 4 and 81 as 3 to the 4. So that those 4 will cancel out the 4 in that denominator. And then put 2 over 3 to the power of 3, and then you must raise each of those to 3. Alright, so 2 is 8 and 3 is 6. Okay, guys, we still have a few minutes to work on those revision questions. I'll put the first bit on the board for you. You can do the first 2. Doesn't come up very nicely on the board though. Please. Oh, I see. So in that case, we will do one more. We'll just take it out. And try and make it okay. But we will do one more.